Hello, friends, and welcome to the most glorious of events, the Movie Mavericks podcast. This outstanding program is hosted by two fine gentlemen, Jason and Trevor. Now make it so.
MovieMavericks.com.
Hey now everybody, welcome to episode 399 of the Movie Mavericks podcast. I'm Trevor Anderson, send you over to Jason Rugard. He's got a rundown for us.
Also want to tell you guys tonight that we're getting close to that 400 mark, and we will have a special show coming up in just a few weeks for you guys, looking back at our first 50 or so shows, airs, bloopers, good stuff we said mixed in there. So
we have an episode in between though, right?
We do.
What do we have not even decided, right?
I thought we were going to take a look at the Beverly Hills Cop 3 entry.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Because we have Axel F coming on Netflix during the July 4th weekend, so we wanted to time that. So that'll be coming up here in the next few weeks. But after that, over the July 4th weekend, it looks like the way it's going to time out as we record this, it's going to be the release of our 400th episode. So it's going to be a celebration of the Movie Mavericks podcast. And for those of you that have stayed with us the whole time, or even are new to the podcast, we want to thank you guys always for your listenership and for hanging with us over these conversations.
Stayed with us over 10 years.
I mean, that's longer than a lot of relationships Trevor and I have been in. So we thank you guys. We started this podcast really in earnest with the Animated Critics back in 2010, and that morphed into a live show, which became this version, right? So we've done well over 400 shows.
Especially when you include the non-numbered ones. Yes.
The retrospectives and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, in tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about Fall Guy, Madam Webb, Unfrosted, and Exorcist Believer, as well as the trailers for Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis. That sounds fun. Eli Roth's Borderlands, Jessica Alba starring Trigger Warning, and M. Night Shyamalan's new film, Trap. So a lot of fun stuff to talk about on this last episode in the 300s. It's crazy we've done this many episodes. I don't know, I still get a kick talking movies with you, buddy, so this is fun stuff. I know you got a lot of trivia, and let's get into that.
How many performers have won 2 performing Oscars in the same year? 3, 1, 2, or 0?
Okay, so they've won them. They weren't just nominated. Because I know, Jamie Foxx got nominated for Best Supporting Actor, Best Actor.
Yes, it says 1.
Okay, 1.
2 performing Oscars in the same year.
I don't know if that's ever been done. I'm going to say 0.
I know, right?
I can't think in the modern era.
Yep, that was right.
0? Okay, yeah, that's a trick question then, because incredibly hard feat, right?
I know, because they gave you 0, so it kind of felt like, but then that felt like that was the trick.
Right, yeah. All right, good. We're on a roll here. Let's do another one. Every time you're looking in this book, I feel like you have the answer and I don't already, and I'm already at a loss for when we start.
It doesn't have the answers written in here.
Okay, so you got to use the little majig there.
So you got to push the thing, and then it either dings or it doesn't.
There's an order of operations.
So, yeah. Clint Eastwood directed this biopic about the life of the late, great
Charlie Bird.
Saxman Charlie Parker.
Yeah, it's Bird from 1988. Decent movie. I saw it when it was on HBO years ago, but never took to it like I did some of the other ones he directed, like White Hunter, Black Heart, which I love that movie. Super underrated and overlooked Eastwood movie. Did you ever see that one with him and Jeff Fahey?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good flick. I like that one.
I mean, he's a great director. But I was just going to say, there's a lot of undiscovered Clint Eastwood things if you haven't... Even if you've seen quite a few Clint Eastwood movies, there's probably a lot you haven't.
Bloodwork was the one that really surprised me.
That one's pretty good. Yeah, his 90s stuff is really great.
Yeah, except for he's got a couple in there that I don't care for. Midnight in the Garden of Evil, never.
That one is not very good. Yeah, and it's very long. I remember seeing that in the theater. I was like, oh, God.
It's ungainly. It's his Bonfire of the Vanities, if you will. His misstep.
Kind of is. This film stars Michael J. Fox as a young soldier who's, wow.
We just were talking about this movie off air.
Talking about this movie. I'll finish the question, though, but who's just arrived in Vietnam, where he sees a group of corrupt soldiers rape and kill innocent people. He vows to see the justice is served, even if it costs him his life. You know the name.
Casualties of War.
Casualties of War.
How bizarre. Just talking about that.
Yeah, that is weird, right?
Serendipitous. I think we should just leave it on that because we're 3 for 3, and that seemed like a perfect...
that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a perfect closer for that segment on there. We're doing good tonight, so I'm happy about that. We were just talking about Brian De Palma and his filmography, and specifically that movie, and how I hadn't seen Casualties of War, but you saw it as a kid, you said, huh?
Yeah, well, as a teenager.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think I came out in 89, so I was too young to see it in a theater, but I think it was on cable quite often, but I just never got into it. I'm not the biggest Sean Penn fan.
It's not your normal Michael J. Fox movie, and it's not a happy movie. It's a really kind of a messed up movie. So you definitely see that movie from Michael J. Fox's eyes, someone who's witnessed these people do something horrible, and these are supposed to be the American soldiers. They're supposed to be the good guys, right? And now he has to hang around with them, and they're like, you better not say anything, or whoopsie, maybe you might die out here,
It's interesting that J. Fox, after his success with Back to the Future and Teen Wolf, he did Secret of My Success, which I guess was kind of lighthearted.
That's a comedy.
He went really dark there after that with Light of Day, and then Bright Lights, Big City, and then Casualties of War. He really tried to change his image, and then rebounded back with Back to the Future 2, and then went on a string of really, some of them were hits like Doc Hollywood, but a lot of them bombed, like Life with Mikey and Greedy, and these movies that just weren't very good, that were lighthearted comedies.
There's a reason he wound up in television?
Yeah, right. That was back when being in television was considered a step down for being in, you've lost the luster of being a movie star. Although he started in television, to be fair.
He did, but, step up and then step back down, right? It took him a while when he came back. He had like a couple shows, did he not?
I think he did, yeah. And then he took over Spin City.
There was one called Michael. There was a Michael J. Fox show, was it not? That did not do very well.
There has to be. That sounds like.
I want to say there was one.
If there isn't, then there should have been one, because that sounds like it was in my memory, like the Sinbad genie movie, like the Mandela effect.
Exactly, I Mandela you.
Yeah, he really did. But the Spin City thing seemed perfect for him. But I remember when he was first coming out in his 85, he pops with two big movies, and then 86 you have Cruise with Top Gun. I remember thinking when I was young, like, these guys are kind of the same. They're little diminutive guys, but they're pretty intense, and they're both good at what they do. J. Fox seemed to have a better comedic timing than Cruise did at the time, but it's weird that Cruise's star kept ascending, and guys like J. Fox or even Rob Lowe, we were talking about that Bratz documentary that's coming out, made it to TV during that era when Cruise was still just going higher and higher.
I think that Tom Cruise didn't do comedies, right? Like Michael J. Fox did. And I think that's kind of probably the reason for that. Even the comedies you might say Tom Cruise did were serious movies.
Yeah, Jerry Maguire is technically a drama comedy, but it's serious.
Drama comedy. Also, The Cocktail is fucking great. And it is not a comedy.
No, that's a drama, if anything. He did...
Risky Business even isn't... Like, that's borderline comedy, sure, but
it's got a lot of deep themes to it and moments in it. Yeah, it's not a real comedy. No, you're right. And then if you look at even his only out and out comedy that he did was when he played Les Grossman, in Tropic Thunder, and then he tried to lighten it a little bit with Night and Day, the Mission Impossible romantic comedy style.
Well, you know what? That's true. He did do that, and it's
fun.
I would label that as a comedy. It's an action comedy, but that is a comedy.
He's good in it.
But that is almost spoofing himself. Yeah, so he's almost tongue-in-cheek making fun of himself, which is in line with the Tom Cruise character, which he's done in the Mission Impossible movies, especially like you look at Mission Impossible 2. Which is damn near has some funny ass moments in it and stuff.
Rain Man has some funny moments, even though it's a drama.
It does. But that is definitely not a comedy.
No, but there's something about Cruise losing his shit that can be in the right movie, very action-oriented. In the other movie, can be kind of comical because he's so overboard with it, and when he's getting mad in Rain Man, I always laughed at those moments, it just his impatience with that character. So, but in terms of, I didn't think Michael J. Fox was the best comedian. Outside of Back to the Future, did you ever laugh at one of his movies?
No, they're what they have is likability. Both of them.
Yes, that's true.
Like Michael J. Fox is really likable on screen. He comes on screen, I immediately like him. I don't know why.
He's also one of those characters that can crack wise, and it's not dislikable for it. He's even, a lot of guys. You
feel like you're in on the joke, right? You feel like you could match wits with him. Like he feels like just one of the guys.
He's outsmarted everybody in the room, and he's just trying to get through it without them noticing it. Is how I always felt about Michael J. Fox. But I love Michael J. Fox for his classic movies there, even like that Secret of My Success and a few of the other ones there. But
Stuart Little, yeah, we know.
Stuart Little, I forgot about Stuart Little. Oh, man, I know you got 1 and 2 right there at the house.
I have all 3. Don't mess with me.
Is there a third one?
There is. It's 2D animated.
Oh, fuck. You got the set, didn't you?
I don't know. Is there a third one? I think you might. Certainly don't own those.
I'm surprised there's not a reboot at this point. That they haven't gone back and just redone that with the upgraded CGI. But
yeah, when that came out, I mean the first one, I don't really remember the other ones, but the first one's not that bad of a movie, and the CGI in it is pretty damn good for that day and age.
well, that's like saying the original Mouse Hunt movie wasn't that bad, the Gore Verbinski one that came out in '97, because that's got some pretty decent little CGI and
Does it?
yeah, and some decent camera work. Looking at it
I
now,
don't think I ever really. I do remember that movie, but I didn't really watch it.
well, knowing where Verbinski
Remember
goes
that
with the
much.
Pirates movies and how he uses his camera,
Uh-huh.
you watch that and you go, this is what probably got him that job, because he did a kids movie. It's very high energy, it's very creative, and that's probably how he got Pirates or got in the mind of the Disney producers. However, we're way off topic. Let's talk about the movies that we've seen. You and I both made a trek to the theater, albeit separately, to see The Fall Guy. This is Universal Pictures.
I was there in spirit with you.
I appreciated that. I kind of felt you next to me. But this movie is, to me, a very long, ungainly piece of entertainment that should have been better. I mean, it's better than the sum of what it is. The parts of it are really good, but it doesn't add up to much. And I think that the first hour drags very, very slowly and does not pick up until we get to the crux of the story, which is him investigating this lost movie star. And there's shades of Nice Guys in here, with Gosling kind of being an aloof detective, if you will. And the movie, for me, struck a lot of right notes, made me smile quite often, but ultimately is just a little bit better than average. That's my, and too long by a good 25 minutes. But I did love the quoting of movies and the love for movies that this movie had. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was a fine movie. It was okay. It was fun when things were happening, but there was a lot of nothing happening in this movie. I like the movie. I think the scene that best sums up this movie is the scene where he gets caught and they tie him to the chair there on the dock, and they sit there and they try to get the information out of him. And like the bad guy, who's basically the Tom Cruise character. Right?
He's supposed to be,
the
right?
Tom Ryder.
Yeah, Tom
guy.
Ryder. Yeah.
Well, he specifically mentions Tom Cruise, so it isn't Tom Cruise.
I thought the same thing.
But it's literally supposed to be him. And the guy is just telling him, just trying to get him to. They're just talking like constantly, and the guy stands up and he walks over and he's like, "Well, you better tell me this, or I'm going to kill you." And then he sits down, and they talk some more about stuff, and just it doesn't fucking matter because he doesn't even have the thing the guy wants. So he just wasted a bunch of time, and then he just tells him that I don't have it, and then the guy goes, "Okay, well, I'm gonna kill you." I was like, "Well, I watched the whole fucking scene. Why?
Well,
Why does this movie do that? It does it.
It
so
does it
much,
in the
especially with
karaoke
the love
sequence as
stuff.
well. I thought that karaoke
There's
sequence
a
went
bunch of
way
stuff
too
in
long.
this, like
the
where
screening
you're
room
just like,
sequence.
what are we doing? Like this would, I could get this information across way better in some other way. This movie needs a rewrite bad.
That's what I thought as well, because the story is so convoluted. If you had to explain what the story was
it has
about,
moments, though.
It does have beautifully done
It
moments.
has great action moments and stuff, which, of course, David Leitch. Okay, so it has great
It
action
also has
moments.
good comedic beats, though, because Ryan Gosling
It
is a
does.
good comedic actor, and Emily Blunt can hang on to some of what he's throwing out there.
It's too convoluted. Like, the way they made it is so... The way that you slowly piece together this story is too much. Like, she should already be the director. How does she go from camera girl to, like, 3 months later? What is it, 6 months
A
later?
year later,
a fucking
she's directing
director?
a blockbuster. On top of it, this isn't an
What?
indie film. I know.
Excuse me,
It
what?
needed to be 5 years on that. I give you that. It needed to be much longer.
They should have been making the number one of this movie at the opening of the movie should have been him, and she's directing and he's working on this movie, and then they need to make the sequel, and then they have to get him back somehow, or something like that. There's something so simple.
I had an
that you could
idea
just make
that was
this.
a little bit simplified too. Is why not make it that she and Tom Ryder have had a relationship, and Ryder's making him do all this dangerous shit to hurt himself and get him off the movie, but instead. There's really no.
He just does
There's
it. There's
nothing
no
to
point.
keep him and the girl apart other than their past. That's the only thing.
He's just a loser. That's his problem, right? He props up everybody else except for himself. Even at the end when he gets the girl, he's still propping her up.
I know.
Or rather than doing anything for himself.
Because he's the fall guy. I mean,
And
that's the whole point, right? He's being stepped on the
I
entire
know,
time, but
it's
he's
too much. Like, but he doesn't even in the end. Even when he's like strong enough to stand up for himself, he's doing it for her. Like, it's just,
Well,
I don't know. It's
movie,
not a very good movie. Like, the more I think about this movie, the more I think, God, this is just could have been way better. So no wonder no one went and saw it. I don't blame them. I've heard also people say they didn't like the trailer for this, but I remember we liked the trailer.
Was great. Yeah, the trailer was better than the movie in a lot of
I
ways.
wish the movie, right? I wish the movie was more of what the trailer promised, like a little bit less of the romantic stuff, way more of the detective work, like way more of that. That was second fiddle here, and it almost, like, none of that shit made sense, right? Like, almost none of it. It was just like secondary, like, give him something to do, and then he just goes and fucks around.
Well, can you tell me why the sequence is in there on the beach with the car where he destroys the camera? How that has anything to do? I know later he says, "Well, I owed you for breaking the camera," or whatever, but
I don't know. It's a
long sequence that doesn't do anything but get them back talking again.
Isn't that just more of the whole, like, we love movies? I thought a lot of that shit, a lot of the stuff they do in this is like, we're making a movie. Watch us make a movie. And I'm thinking, this is kind of boring, right? It's like the old, what's his name? You'll know when I say the quote, but the thing where, like, is this movie as entertaining as just watching? Yes, was just watching these characters having lunch together and talking. Like, is the movie any more than that? And that's literally, some of this movie is literally just that.
Well, I thought first of all, that tracking shot that shows him come out of his trailer, go in the elevator, go all the way up, get harnessed in and jump off. Cool idea. Slows this whole fucking thing down. Things like that are very cool, but don't do really anything for the movie are in this very plenty.
And they didn't do much for her character either. Like, I hated the introduction of her directing stuff, that whole walk on the beach thing, where she's like, oh, do this and do that, and doing all this. I was just like, not only is this a waste of my time, but you're making her look very inexperienced. Like, the character just feels like she doesn't know what she's doing. Oh, and the second thing, having the Gail, who, I don't know, is this Gail Ann Hurd? Having the producer lady tell her that, oh, well, you're so good at writing and we've hired you because, and then you have like the ending speech that you wrote is just so good and everything. And then they actually do the ending speech that she wrote, and it's fucking horrible. One of the worst fucking things I've ever heard in my life. And I didn't even want to watch I didn't want to watch the fake thing. Just cut it. It's fucking terrible.
Also, why is the celebrity cameo in the end? I don't want to give it away for people that haven't seen it, but that cameo specifically it's kind of set up with the name on a piece of paper earlier in the movie and trying to pronounce things, but it's not earned, and it doesn't really do anything for it. It's just stunt casting. So, like, that wasn't necessary at all. I thought that was a very dumb little aside that just, once again, slowed the movie or took me out of the movie. Actually, I didn't think it was funny. This movie reminded me of Baywatch a lot. The movie Baywatch.
The movie Baywatch.
And then it's a property, and it goes way overboard, and it's giving you more than what they think you want, but it's not exactly right.
How did this Tom Ryder character and the Gale lady,
his agent,
whatever the hell her name is,
producer,
the producer,
it's supposed to be Paula Wagner, right? That's what I got out of it. Tom Cruise and Paula Wagner.
I know, but they call her Gale, so I just always thought Gale Ann Hurd. But yeah, it's the same. That's
who was married.
The idea,
Gale
right?
Ann Hurd, who was married to Brian De Palma, to circle this all back around. There you go.
That's true, actually. Yes. But how do they get like a security force like that? Like, why is their security like crack shot like fucking our ex-Army Rangers? Where the fuck? What is going on in this movie? Why is it like that? What is that?
Well, also, why is it that these stuntmen these guys are so dialed in and so on top of their shit? Because this is a love letter to stuntmen. I have no problem with that. But then the opening scene, you have the star just fiddle with a switch when nobody's watching, and it causes like this guy to almost die. Like, I just thought like the consistency of this was like, wait a minute, what? Well, it just seemed.
Well, how'd the guy not know? How'd the guy think that he? That's the other thing. How'd the guy think that he changed it when it wasn't changed? It was the same as it was before, but then the other guy changed it.
The jump, the jumping back with the double fingers, with that they bring about at the end when he jumps onto the airbag, I thought was not that clever. But Gosling is so fucking likable that you just want to go with him in this stuff. He's a ne'er-do-well in the movie, and you want him to do better. Emily Blunt just seems to be getting cast in everything nowadays. I didn't think that she had a particularly great chemistry with him. I mean, it seems manufactured chemistry, the same way she does it with The Rock. Yeah. I didn't think it was necessarily genuine. It just seemed like two actors performing. But I didn't hate the movie. I just wanted to love it because it seemed to have love for movies inside of it. It's just contained with a story that is unnecessary. If I tell you it's about a stuntman who goes to work on a movie that his ex-girlfriend's directing and there's a missing lead actor, that's a concise storyline. That's not what this movie is, though. This is all over the fucking place.
Eventually, it's that movie.
Yeah, but about what, an hour and
Eventually.
10 minutes into a 2 hour and 10 minute movie? Because you got to get through a lot of exposition and romantic shit to even get to the action beats, which I thought, is this a romantic comedy or is this an action movie or is this an action romantic? What is this? Because Lost City did it almost as good.
It's already out on video on demand. That's what it is.
Unbelievable. This thing grossed over $1 million yesterday as we speak here. So it's a Tuesday, $5 days, and there is a bump in the matinee prices. But if you're grossing $1 million in theaters still, damn near $10 million last weekend, what the fuck are they doing? Are they trying to tank this movie? How does this work? Like, what's the thinking behind putting this on demand before Memorial Day?
Well, I know that the idea is that it's hot enough that they can get some rentals out of it rather than letting it cool and then have to reintroduce it to everybody on video on demand, right? I mean, that's gonna be my guess. That they don't want to ad spend again. They don't want to waste any more money on it. I think the rule here. Who put this out? Universal. Yeah. So I think Universal has a hard rule of if it ain't 50 million in 3 weeks or whatever the hell it is, like, this thing's like hovering around. It's probably over that now. But if it doesn't quite hit that, then they dump it at VOD.
Which means it'll be on Peacock in a matter of, by July 4th, this thing should be on Peacock. So,
well, it's not very good. Just to be honest, it's okay, but I wanted this to be really good. I wanted this to be a lot better, and it kind of has to be at this point, especially. I don't know. It's weird because there's not a lot of competition this year, but in that sense, the stuff almost sticks out more than normally, right? Because in a normal year, you can have a movie like this. It's kind of okay. It does whatever it does, but then there's something else to pick up the slack. Well, there's nothing. There's nothing else.
I mean, do you forgive it if it had come out in March, like it was supposed to come out in, because it'd be a smaller movie and not such of an event movie? A little bit.
I mean, if you temper my expectations a little bit for what it is, then okay, fine. That's why one thing I can imagine watching this on streaming or watching this at home and being okay with it, But it's different when you go to the theater and it costs extra money to go see a movie in a theater. I don't know if anyone knows this or not, but. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a big deal, right?
And I saw this in kind of a throwback theater that had about 450 seats in it, barely stadium seating, and it was kind of a quaint experience, and it felt fun. It was more than 3/4 full, but it didn't feel overcrowded, and people were going with it, and they wanted to really get into it, and it seemed that it entertained people, but put into perspective, something like Tickets to Paradise, which I saw in a theater a couple years back when that was out. And that was a fucking crowd pleaser. I mean, people just were into every little line.
It's a much better movie.
In between the two, it actually is a better movie.
It's a way better movie.
Crazy to say that, right? And it actually will.
Well, it's just not an action movie, so maybe they're not directly comparable, but it is, as a movie, a better movie.
More enjoyable, I'll say too. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So I think that they just messed up. They just missed the mark on this one.
Well said. 'Cause I feel the same way. I don't want to keep shitting on it because it's not the worst movie of the year, but it's just slightly above average.
It's doing about in line with other David Leitch movies and stuff. So I don't know who thought spending this amount of money on this was a good idea. It seems crazy to me, but Bullet Train. I love Bullet Train. I think it's a wonderful movie. I would never in my million years would I think that Bullet Train would be a good worth much of anything, and this compares. Probably pretty comparable to that, and really it kind of did about that. So I don't know why the hell you would think that. Why would you spend this much money? I don't know.
I think that Gosling was hot. They had to pay him a little bit more.
Was he?
Coming off of Barbie, they probably thought that he was going to push this a little bit further down the road than it did.
So you think they
were counting on
switched this up after Barbie?
Yeah, I bet you that this got a much bigger. Plus, Leitch were coming off of doing Hobbs and Shaw for Universal, so that had made money and that had a big budget. So I think that they were hoping this was going to do Fast and Furious numbers. That's what I would think.
Well, read the script next time. I don't know what to say.
Well, speaking of reading the script, let's talk about Sony and Columbia's woeful Madam Webb, which was released.
Wait. there was a script for Madam Web?
Well, that's debatable after you've watched the movie, because this is a movie that was dumped into, you talk about dumped, it was in theaters not that long ago. I mean, maybe Valentine's Day weekend, I think this premiered. It's currently streaming on Netflix, which is pretty unbelievable, and it's been on there for a couple weeks now. I got a chance to catch up with this. We had talked on the phone. You said, the acting style of Dakota Johnson really got under your skin. And was it February 14th?
Huh? I'm sorry. You said we talked on the phone. I feel like I rotary dialed you or something. Just call your number.
We had talked about this movie and just about her acting style and how it's, like I said, it's almost a postmodern type of acting where it's as little energy as possible.
That's
and
right,
she invests every one of her performances, but this especially with this kind of detached, not even bemusement, but annoyance. And
do you think she knew it was bad, like as she was making it?
No, I think this is her acting style. I think she's an extremely untalented person. I don't think she's necessarily all that attractive on top of it. So I don't understand how this girl keeps working on this level. I really don't. She comes off as too cool for school in these roles. And this movie is first of all, talk about a movie that gives you the same information over and over and over. How many times did you need to see her predicting the future or getting caught up in this multiverse? For how long? And it's a good...
Well, I didn't understand.
It's an hour into this thing, and she's just collected these people.
What was her superhero power again? What was her power?
Which is see in the future, and then to collect these girls who actually have powers.
Well, that's what the spiders do, right? They see in the future.
Stop with this. I couldn't even. This is as bad. This is as miscast and as laughably bad as something like Catwoman from 2004. When that movie got shit on. I mean, it's comparable to that.
I would argue that Catwoman is a lot funner than this.
It's probably easier to watch and get through.
Yeah, this is really bad. I didn't think it would be possible that this would be that it would just be that. I didn't think it would be that bad.
I thought it was hyperbole.
I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like, oh, this is like bad. It's kind of bad. And you kind of like come out with it. You're like, yeah, but yeah, this is an awful movie. Like truly awful from the beginning to the end. Everything about it just stunk to high heaven, and you're right, like the whole her superpower is just nonsense, and when she first unlocks it, it's just ridiculous. Like you're just waiting for something to happen, and then the thing that happens is that there's some girls who might also get superpower someday and kill some supervillains, so he's trying to stop them. Then she doesn't know what's going on, but she can see the future, so she's gonna do stuff, and that's the fucking movie. Like what kind of a movie
Adam
is that?
Scott looks bored in this movie. Even he looks like he doesn't have anything to do here.
I forgot he was in this. He is only in this for a little bit.
But even so, his scenes with her are so flat that they just feel like they were either reshot or everybody had given up at that point. There's nothing particularly artistic about this movie. I don't understand this world at all.
I don't remember seeing Sydney Sweeney's boobs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody in it. I mean, Tits McGee was not present really in this movie, and the bad guy. What was his ultimate plan again? He wanted this spider so he could do what? Because then he has this. He shoots her for the spider, and then he can see into the future. But he has the spiders. What the fuck are you doing?
Forgot. I don't even know what his. I was so fucking trying to just piece together the rest of this piece of shit. It's like, what am I watching? Why is this taking so long? You're right. He didn't have a fucking point. Like his whole point was that he could see the future where these three girls,
we're gonna murder
superhero girls, kill him, and so. But then he causes them to become superheroes to kill him in the future by going after them to stop them from killing him in the future.
Well, apparently his life was set otherwise because he had no other problems to take care of in the movie other than just getting these three bitches out of his life.
No, you don't understand. She can change the future. Do you get it?
Yeah, it was pounded into my fucking head 6 times over before the first hour.
No, she thought she couldn't, but then she found out she has the power.
And she's about that excited that how you said it when she finds out too in the movie. I found out I can get the power. I'm sorry. The bangs haircut, the whole thing. Stop with this girl. Stop pushing this person.
I'm sorry. Is she there with you right now? That sounded.
No, I can't stand this fucking person. I mean, let's be honest. Her mother, Melanie Griffith, was a knockout, but was a very, very limited actress. Dawn Johnson probably had more of a range, but not fucking the greatest actor of all time. So it's not like she has some sort of superior talent. Talk about nepotism. She only is cast in this shit because she has a name. But I think that name is going to go by real quick because her screen presence, to me at least, is fucking zero. I do not find her a compelling person to look at on screen. I find her to be, like I said, Bruce Willis did that detached bemusement thing. Like, I know it's a movie, but I'm kind of amused by that I'm in it. Where she's doing the detached annoyance, that she knows it's a fucking movie and she's pissed that she's on set every day. Like, did they pull you out of your bathtub to come to set to fucking film the scene that you're getting paid for? Because even the fucking prologue that's set in the Amazon with the mom who's shot, what does this have to do with anything? Why did her mom have to die?
It makes the bad guy a bad guy because then she can think that her mom abandoned her because she didn't want her, but then she can find out the truth later on.
Is that why she's at the?
She sees it, and then she goes, "Oh my god!"
Is this the scene?
I thought my mom didn't love me.
Can you tell me the scene at the baby shower where she has to do the weird thing where she tells everybody that her mom died at childbirth and brings the party to a stop? Like what? We already know that information.
Yeah, because that's the character. The character doesn't care. She doesn't know she's supposed to care. She actually doesn't know she has a heart.
Oh, you sound like the scriptwriter just fucking just coming up with bullshit out of the air.
Until she meets these three young women.
That she treats like shit, that she kidnaps, who don't want anything to do with her? Who don't even like each other?
She's maybe a little hard on them, but she doesn't know yet that she's allowed
Trevor,
to love.
You're stop. She's allowed to love. This movie, I mean, thankfully, it doesn't give her time to figure all of this out because then it would be a 2 hour and 30 minute movie.
Give me a script. I will get you a green light.
Apparently at Sony, because they're looking, I mean, the Spider-Man franchise has been very successful for them over the years, even this animated spin-off stuff they're doing. But these movies, the Venom universe here, whatever the fuck this is not working. The Morbius is 10 times better than this movie. At least I could follow that.
I liked the Morbius one because it was so bad. I thought that movie was so bad it was good, and I would watch more of it.
That's what I wanted this to be. That's why
complete nonsense, bullshit, whatever.
I agreed to watch this when you brought it up because I thought it would be closer to the Morbius and not closer.
Me too.
To the travesty that everybody said.
I thought it would be hokey fun, at least, if anything,
and not so slow to develop.
It's really bad. Yeah, this is like one of the worst written things I've seen. Like
also, why is she a paramedic? She's not even necessarily she's not endearing or very like motherly to anybody. She's very standoffish even when the child wants to give her the thing.
Well, yeah,
she's, I don't know, cold
fish. I mean, that's just what she is. She should have been. They should have made her a child psychologist.
Fucking cold fish. I just seriously, I cannot stand that. Can't stand the actress or the movie.
Yeah, the writing was no good, but
I'm glad it's done. That franchise has stopped at its track. And people will say, oh, the worst movie in the Marvel universe or whatever is Elektra and all this shit. No, it's not. At least Elektra is well cast. At least people in that movie. So do I, but at least it's well cast.
It's not the director's cut.
The regular one's the better one, to be honest with you.
I like the theatrical cut with the better music. And I don't know what the fuck's wrong with that director.
And the correct running time of like 85 minutes. So.
That's right. Theatrical Elektra, director's cut Daredevil. Get it right. Those are the correct
order of
answers
operations,
to those.
Trevor. That's exactly right. Thank you for getting that right. All right, let's talk about Unfrosted. Jerry Seinfeld's starring and directing in a Netflix comedy satire about the making of Pop-Tarts.
Oh, this is a comedy.
Yeah.
It makes sense but he's not allowed to do comedy, right? Because it'll get him canceled. So I thought this was not a comedy.
Well, it's a satire.
Or at least the good jokes were not in this, right?
I thought that I got to be honest with you. I thought the first 30 minutes, the first act of this movie was very amusing. I was kind of charmed by it, particularly the Tony the Tiger stuff with Hugh Grant's, crankerous person in there and doing the how he came up with their great and some of that. But after they really start doing the runoff at each other after the award ceremony, this movie kind of lost its way. And I thought a lot of the air went out of the room in where the direction of this was going, and it floundered about for the next hour trying to piece something together that resembled a worthwhile story. I liked when the kid walked into the bar in the beginning and he says, kids don't know about the diner, and he orders the Pop-Tart, and you don't know about this and that. I thought there was a bit of an endearing aspect to it, but it just went so bland to me that, and maybe
it's not funny at all.
I thought it was kind of amusing for the first 30. I didn't necessarily think it was funny, but I thought it was amusing.
I disagree, but I didn't even think it was. I thought it was bad from the get go.
You didn't feel like a Tim Burton vibe, kind of a satire of the
nope, not at
Madison
all.
Avenue crowd.
I mean, it's way lower budget than that. Maybe I guess like TV version, Tim Burton. I don't know. It's a bad movie. It's not good. It's not funny. I don't know who it's for. I don't know what age level it's for. It's just it's not funny. I don't know where are the actual jokes. It's just people acting silly.
It's clever. I thought. Okay.
I don't even think it's clever.
I thought there were some moments in the beginning that were very, very clever. Particularly with the award show, and we pay for this award show. Of course, we want it all and stuff. Like I could see that kind of shit happening with this industry stuff, but then it got so off into fantasy land that we weren't even. I didn't understand. It became also stunt casting to the nth degree. I mean, I liked the milk, the milk cartel that was out to stop this, because milk sales are going to go down, and Christian Slater's the head of those pissed off milkmen, and I thought that kind of stuff was cute, but like I said, it lost its way when it got into the mechanics of the plot and what it had to go through to get to the end. So really lost its steam for me after the first 30 minutes, but I did like the first 30 minutes of the movie, but I can't recommend it at all because the majority, 2/3 of it, I did not care for. I mean, it sounds like you didn't like it from Jump Street.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it other than it's terrible. I thought it was horrible all the way through. And I like Jerry Seinfeld. I even like his stand-up, and I don't think this has to be crass. That's not what I'm saying. But it's just nothing. It's a lot of nothing. It's just not even. It's just not funny. I don't even think there's not a moment in this that I think is funny. To be honest with you, the whole thing feels so bland, and Unfrosted's a good title for it. They needed to frost it.
I will say that when I was watching this, I did come downstairs and get a bowl of cereal. So it did its job. Maybe get a bowl of cereal.
There are other reasons for that.
But that's the marijuana. But it was also, I had Chex, which is neither a Kellogg or a Post cereal. So
Chex? What, did you at least put milk on it?
Fuck. You got to eat it dry. It's good for the old pooper.
Get them Chex Mix.
Tell me about Exorcist Believer, because this is a movie that I was planning on watching, but after the last David Gordon Green directed Halloween movie, I think that I'm done with his interpretation of horror franchises. Am I missing anything?
Well, it's only an hour and 51 minutes.
Oh, that's it? 2 hours of my life to give to this fuck?
It's only an hour. No, it's not even 2 hours. It's an hour, 51 minutes. Who's in? I don't even remember who's in this. No one's in this.
Well, I mean, Ellen Burstyn, didn't she come back? The original mom?
I don't think so.
The dude from Hamilton isn't in this?
Well, I don't know who that is. So there's some people in this. Yeah, so this is a terrible movie. It's awful, to say the least. But it's basically a couple of girls.
Does it tie into any of the original Exorcist movies?
Sure. Right. As you said, the mother is in this, I guess. So it's supposed to be like it clearly takes place in the same universe. There's a little bit of, I don't know, culture war weirdness in this too. So, I mean, whatever you want to think of that. But other than that, it's just still a terrible movie. Right? The two girls, they go off, they disappear. They go screw around in the woods. They disappear for weeks. They find them. They're like, hey, we were only gone for a day. They're like, you were gone for weeks. Okay, well, they need to be exorcised. So then we do a lot. It takes a fucking forever for us to figure out that they got some demons in them. Mind you, we've already been through quite a bit in this opening with just these girls before they, got to get to know people, right? And so finally they do this and they figure it out. And then the whole movie is like they're going to exorcise both these girls, but they can't do it. And the demon's really strong, and the demon knows all of them, like the priest. And because, it's culture war stuff, they have like 3 different religions there. Have like the Haiti people there,
Where I think that's, so in the first movie, it came from Africa, right? Like, didn't like the actual, it started in Africa?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're doing all kinds of voodoo stuff. We're doing whatever we can do, whatever works. Apparently it all works.
Is this the first in a series?
So I don't know what a demon is, I guess. Well, religiously, I don't know what it is because it apparently responds to all religions. And so they try to get this thing out, and then it ends up having to be like, is it going to be the black girl, the poor-ish black girl, I guess, or the rich white kid? You know, which one are we going to sacrifice?
There's 2 more coming?
I guess. I wish, like, as I'm watching this, the only thing that I can think of is figure out the fucking lore, and then make that be the lore. But don't tell me that it's just everything, and then nothing matters. It can't be all religions are right. That can't be. I don't know how to say that other than, and if that's true, then this isn't a demon in the sense of anything, right? That you would understand as a demon. So why would it respond to any of it? I don't know. And it seems it's way overpowered in this.
What about this? Was the Russell Crowe Pope's Exorcist better than this?
That one's great. That one's fucking awesome. Because that one goes full bore. So you get some fat fucking Russell Crowe in there. He's going to take this get that fucking demon,
you get that Porky Aussie in there and you make him work.
Yeah, I would watch the Pope's Exorcist. There's a silent movie came out with this called The Exorcists, plural. That was way better than this, I thought.
It's weird that David Gordon Green has
sacrificed
his indie darling status to make these.
This is an indie darling, though. This is like that A24 wannabe, like, oh, it's slow. It's a slow burn. It like means this. We're doing this. It's art. It's avant-garde.
Yeah.
It's something special, and it's not.
It's a look at me moment for the director. Is that what it is?
Yeah. It's like just make the fucking Exorcist, man. That's what everyone wants.
Yeah, that's all you got to do.
I just want to see the Exorcist. I don't need to know. I don't need anything else. I don't need to know anything else. I don't need to know about how the patriarchy, did. I don't even need a line. Not even a line. I don't want one line about any of this shit,
Yeah, just show me someone possessed and getting unpossessed is all I really ask for in an Exorcist movie.
And it can be the people can be any race you want. I don't really think that's important, but at least make their beliefs matter. Like the people in this, the father, or whatever, doesn't really believe in any of this stuff, which is half the reason why he just tries everything, which is, I thought, the only real thing in the whole movie. Because if you're like, my kid's going to die, I don't even know what the fuck's going on, I don't believe in anything. Of course you're going to try every religion, right? You're like, yeah, throw it all at it.
Throw the kitchen sink at the problem.
That was the only thing that made sense to me, but the rest of it is just whatever.
And that's why it underperformed at the box office, I'm sure, as well. And this was a big loss for Universal, who paid an exorbitant amount for the rights. And I believe is trying to make a planned 3-picture trilogy. But we'll see after the failings of this. And it sounds like even horror aficionados like yourself are not enjoying this movie. So fuck The Exorcist, believer.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some trailers because we got some things to talk about on tonight's show.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited to talk with you about Megalopolis. This is
Papadopoulos.
Nick Papadopoulos, who lives in Megalopolis, by Mr. Francis Ford Coppolopoulos. And he just premiered this at Cannes. And at this point, it is getting very divisive reviews. Apparently there's a section where somebody comes out from the curtain and talks to the screen and breaks the fourth wall. I'm not sure how that's going to work in subsequent viewings, but this is getting a lot of press. And from one of the descriptions that I read, which kind of summed this up from the trailer at least that we just saw, is it's Shakespeare mixed with Batman Forever. And it kind of does look like it has that Joel Schumacher, Gotham City, larger-than-life, hellscape look to it. But at the same time, there's images in this trailer that are so striking and so intriguing that I want to see this right now. And I have an affinity for movies about these kind of a post-apocalyptic new vision worlds, like Southland Tales was a mess, but I liked that one for a lot of reasons. This is obviously going to be one. I mean, there's a whole slew of these that I can't recall at the moment, but when they're done even remotely right, I really respond to these. And I think that even if this is the biggest fucking failure of the year, there are going to be moments in it that are just going to be awesome. And I do want to see this. What are you seeing here in this trailer?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting take. I like that Francis Ford Coppola seems out of his mind and doesn't give a shit and is going to, spend all his own money and make a movie. And so for that reason, I'm definitely in to watch this. I think Adam Driver looks interesting in this, and he's been an actor that I think has been choosing interesting roles, at least lately. And this sounds interesting. You have a big disaster. It looks like a meteor strikes or something. Something happens, right? destroys New York to some degree, and this Adam Driver character is going to rebuild it into some sort of a utopia, something that he sees as far as the world needs to change. Right? It's like an inflection point where he can actually do something different, something better. I don't know. He seems conflicted in the trailer, so it looks interesting. I'm a little confused by everyone talking about the special effects on this because they just look like normal special effects, but okay.
Well, are they supposed to be excellent or bad?
I thought they were some groundbreaking special effects thing. That's what everyone keeps saying about this. Like, he spent all this money and he did some new special effects stuff, but it just looks like normal special effects.
I mean, they look really good.
I'm not sure.
With the Statue of Liberty leaning and crying and things like that. Yeah, those kind of hallucinatory images.
You're right. They look good. I shouldn't say okay. They look standard. They
Hollywood
look good,
level.
but they look standard. So I don't know what the big hurrah would be about them, or maybe they haven't shown it yet, or maybe I don't know. It was like, I don't know, the way people were talking about it was like some Avatar, like new technology thing or something that they did with special effects, but I don't know.
This looks
I can't tell.
To me, this looks as close to A Place in the Heart as anything he's done, where it's very big technical scale.
What was
but yeah, I'm not the big. I mean, outside of the classic Coppola, the '70s era Coppola, I'm not the biggest fan of his work past that era, including Outsiders. I don't think is. I think the book's better than the movie is. I don't, his '90s work is atrocious with Jack and The Rainmaker, and even that digital era he went through with Youth Without Youth or Totoro.
He hasn't been good for a long time.
So I don't know what to expect from this. But then, when you get the Apocalypse Nows and The Conversation and obviously The Godfathers, it's like that's such an amazing run that you got to give the guy slack, and to see any auteur who's willing to put this kind of vision on screen. But then again, I say, if this was a David Lynch movie, would I give a fuck? Probably not. So Coppola's movie does have
you
some
say
sort of...
David Lynch, because doesn't this feels a lot like that Cronenberg Crimes of the Future?
Yeah, that's what I thought of as well. Yeah.
Right? Doesn't it like have that same feel? I mean, I haven't seen that movie, and it just doesn't seem like the same movie, but it has that same eerie like feel, like weirdness.
Yeah,
to
offbeat, futuristic vibe to it. Cronenberg, Lynch, those guys, work in this realm quite often. And in Coppola, he's obviously a master, but if you haven't made a movie in X amount of years, especially on this level, are you still? I mean, this is what Tarantino wants to retire, because are you still the artist you were?
We'll find out.
I'm curious to find out. This is one of the more intriguing films being released this year, and this trailer does create a certain anticipation, I have to say. So I do want to see this. Okay, let's talk about Eli Roth's Borderlands, which has been adapted from a video game, one that I'm not familiar with. Have you played this game before? Are you familiar?
No, I never played
Apparently,
it.
it's a very popular game, one of the best-selling video games of all time.
There's a couple.
And this is the film adaptation of it. This is clearly from the trailer influenced by the Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Yeah,
No.
I mean, this looks like Guardians of the Galaxy mixed with that Dungeons and Dragon movie they did last year. And
or Tank Girl.
Tank Girl. I mean, you're just being mean.
Doesn't this look like a Mad Max, like Fury Road, Tank Girl, like as you said, Guardians of the Galaxy? I
don't know when this comes out, but if this was like in the past years, this should be like August, late August release. This is an embarrassment.
Whoever cut the original Suicide Squad trailer definitely cut this trailer.
With the music and the classic rock and the jokes and the offbeat, and some of this stuff does kind of work.
It's all title cards. 30% of this fucking trailer is title cards.
The bubblegum title cards too, so it looks like that Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, the shots don't even cut together correctly. Like, I'm not even sure half of these shots, some of these reaction shots, some of these things that people are doing, and then the effect of what they're doing is the next shot. I'm not even sure these shots go together in the movie.
Well, I mean, the part where the little robot R2-D2 guy is shitting out ammunition is finally amusing. The 3 minutes of just watching this thing play out, and I don't, the piss sequence, it's just nothing landed in this whatsoever. And I remember reading that Eli Roth was doing this project, and it was his big sci-fi opus, and I was kind of excited about it in a lot of ways, because I think Roth's an interesting filmmaker, and this is not what I expected. This Marvel, at least from the marketing standpoint, I don't think this movie has got a shot in hell. Maybe it's got some sort of Tank Girl eccentricities where it becomes a cult classic or a midnight movie, but so far, I have no interest in seeing this.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't see any kangaroo people, so I don't think so.
Oh my god, I forgot about the kangaroo people.
I don't think Ice-T is in this. They got Kevin Hart instead of Ice-T, so I don't think they didn't do the right casting.
Tank Girl is one of the worst movies ever made. Let's be honest. It's fucking atrocious.
I just rewatched it recently. You know, the whole first half of that movie is fucking dog shit. Once the kangaroo guys show up, it's kind of fucking
Is that
awesome.
when they show up and the first thing they say is, "Should we hump her?" Like they don't know what to do.
Yes, they want to fuck the shit out of her.
I remember that as a kid. I saw Tank Girl in a theater.
But it's a very like you're watching it and you're like, ooh, it's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And you're like, oh wait, this is not for
These
children.
guys are horny as fuck. And I shit on Dakota Johnson earlier in the movie, but also one of the worst actresses of her era was Lori Petty, who can't sell a line for shit. I mean, in any movie she's in, she happens to be in Point Break, and she's elevated in that movie, and I guess in A League of Their Own, but otherwise just always plays the same fucking note over and over and over. Very annoying screen presence for me is Lori Petty.
So you're going to see this. It doesn't have Lori Petty in it, so you're going to see this.
Yeah, I will definitely see this movie.
And Dakota Johnson's also not in this. Yeah, I think I want to watch this. This looks so bad. Again, I'm going to hope this is so bad that I'm going to like it.
This is Battlefield Earth level bad from the trailer, at least.
Ooh, I hope so. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's that bad. It seems like it'd be more entertaining than that. That movie's awfully slow.
That movie is slow. That was on recently, and I was trying to watch some of it.
And I still find that movie entertaining for how bad it is, but that's a hard
It is. Barry Pepper is not very well cast in that movie at all. John Travolta is actually doing his job in that movie. Nobody else is.
But Barry Pepper's fantastic.
In most things.
You know, what happened to him?
He's still around. He was just in, was it One Ranger? We just watched him in something he was in. He was good. He's always good.
Was it? Yeah, I know. He's been pretty consistent in little action movies and stuff. I think he's pretty good.
He's like the Jeremy Renner that never got the big break that Jeremy Renner did.
He's exactly like that. Or, what's it? Ryan Felipe.
Yeah, I can see that too. Yeah. In fact, they should get all three of those fuckers in a movie together.
That's true. Actually, that would be a kind of a bitchin' lineup. Really, a fucking action movie.
Can we
with three
get
of those
Tyler Sheridan to write something
nice.
for all three of those fucking guys ASAP? That'd be much appreciated. Instead, we're getting the Netflix film, the action film, John Wick for girls, whatever you want to call it, with Jessica Alba. Trigger warning.
You call this John Wick?
I call this the same shit we've been fed. If it's Ava, if it's the protege, if you call it what you want, the 311.
Those who wish me dead.
Yeah, exactly. This is the same shit we're getting over and over and over. Although it doesn't look half bad for what it is, but it just looks like an expensive B movie that Netflix is throwing a ton of cash at, a la the one that they did with Gal Gadot a while back.
I don't know how to tell you this. You got two people. You can either do Jessica Alba,
Jennifer
or
Lopez.
you can do Steven
you can do
Seagal.
Jennifer Lopez too. She's available apparently.
No, she's doing sci-fi. This is either Steven Seagal or Jessica Alba. And so you have to go with Jessica Alba, right? Because
she's better to look at
it's
than
a
Steven
female.
Seagal right now.
It's a female action role, right? Why? I love Jessica Alba.
So do I.
I love women in action movies.
I liked Dark Angel back in the day.
I am tired of women getting just regular action movies. It's just too much. Like, this should be a guy. I don't know how to say that.
Well, I'll go one better for you.
I can't. I just don't want to say it any other way. It just should
I
be a
don't
dude.
even say
Like,
that.
I'm watching.
Why isn't Megan Fox in this movie? If you're gonna make a movie like this, put fucking.
She's not good, bro.
Jessica Alba is.
No,
exactly.
But she's not good. I already given her a shot. I watched the damn Lion.
Oh, that
movie.
was bad. That was a bad movie.
She's not good. She's
so
out.
Expendables 4.
I'd
she's
agree
out.
with you. Normally, I would agree with you, but I'm just, I'm done. And Jessica Alba, again, love her to death. She's not good. This trailer, she looks terrible in this.
Yeah, I thought she looked
and
really
she's working,
tired.
She's working her ass off. Yeah, she does. And I think she's giving it her all. God bless her, but it just doesn't work. Like I say, Angelina Jolie. I'm tired of seeing her in movies where she's going to be not. It's one thing to put her in something like Wanted or a Tomb Raider or something like that. It's another thing to put her in just in a normal action role, right? I don't know. If I'm going to start watching action movies again, I would love to watch male action movies again. Where are they?
Well, we're not.
I saw The Bricklayer. I loved it.
We only have, the ones that you're speaking of, they are making with the likes of the Ryan Phillippes and the Kellen Lutz and.
But they're making way more of these women ones, and they're putting them front and
it is
center.
odd. I will
and
say
I
that.
don't get it. Who is this for? Do women want to watch this? Because I feel like this is made for men. Obviously, look at the women they're casting in this. I would prefer that you get like a Ronda Rousey or someone that's believable that they would be in this, and I would totally be more on board. But I just I'm not interested in this anymore.
Yeah, it's oddly there's some shots in it that look cool, but oddly unappealing.
And why is it called trigger warning?
Because it's clever. Because she shoots a gun, and this is a clever phrase now.
Because are we going to play again on like I just made a complaint? Are we going to play on this that trigger warning? I was triggered that now I'm sexist. Are we going to do this stuff forever?
Yeah.
For every movie we make?
I think this is going to be forgettable as fuck.
Can we just not?
Be on the Netflix.
And her name is Parker in this. Her character's name is Parker. I hate everything about this. It's like you have a basic, seriously, it's like you have a basic cookie cutter fucking girl action movie shit. Like Parker. Look, let's see. Hannah was the name of the Those Who Wish Me Dead. Angelina Jolie. Hannah.
Yeah, Hannah and Parker. I don't know. This looks like not very good. And
Those Who Wish Me Dead was Taylor Sheridan.
I'm sure this will be on the Netflix top 10 for a day or so and then drop off into obscurity. So that's what it's designed to do. I want to talk about Trap, which is the M. Night movie that's coming out here this summer. Interesting concept about a dad who takes his daughter to a concert, and turns out that it's a trap to catch a serial killer, and looks like he is the serial killer. Josh Hartnett kills it in this trailer.
What's the twist?
I don't know, but I'm in. I swear I wasn't in anymore.
Is he really the killer? He's not the killer, right? What's the twist?
I was not in anymore, and I'm fucking back in. The son of a bitch pulled me back in with this trailer.
Right? This looks fucking good.
I know it does. I know, and I said no more after old. No more, and I'm fucking back.
What I think is crazy about this is this looks super low budget. It looks super small, and this looks like an event
for sure.
Movie. Explain that to me.
This looks like it looks bigger than life with the music, with the.
Yeah, it looks like an adventure. I'm about to be taken by the hand by a master storyteller, and he's like, "Sit down, come with me. I'll tell you this fucking awesome
with
story."
An all-American kid who could be the crazy serial killer next door. You know, that's what Josh Hartnett looks like to me.
And there's going to be a twist.
I mean, as to be expected. And this kind of stuff, you know, it's such a simple concept that you wonder why it hasn't been even thought of before. I mean, you got to give the guy credit for coming up with. He's not always great at following through on his concepts, but he has good, at least, initial pitches, I guess.
This trailer is like a short film.
It's fantastically done. Even the
and
titles.
It doesn't give anything away. It sells you. It doesn't give anything away. It just gives you the premise of it, is what and it kind of puts you in a couple of moments of the setup of this movie. I think it's one of the best trailers I've seen in a while.
I thought with the misdirection of it, I thought that his daughter was going to get kidnapped in there, you know, and the whole thing. And then it turns out he looks at his phone, and is he the killer? Like you said, there's going to be a twist. Obviously, we've come to expect that. But
yeah, who's the guy that he's holding? What's going on with it? Like, we don't really know anything. We just know the basics.
I always wonder how long M. Night can sustain his rope without it snapping. And for me, it's about 45 minutes into his movies until I realize he's just playing with his audience here. But I'm getting suckered in. I'm going to see this movie, and I'll probably be pissed off that I saw it. But it looks really fucking good, and this trailer looks fantastic. The best thing on our show tonight is this trailer, I think, for Trap.
Yeah, I mean, by far.
Yeah.
Yeah, by
far. I hated Knock at the Cabin Door.
I mean, this has to be like a split, right? This has to be like another split. Oh yeah, Knock at the Cabin is
terrible.
Old is terrible. Glass is not that great.
Split's fantastic.
Come on, we're due for another Split. This looks like a split.
And Split was such an unexpected surprise because I had written him off after The Happening, and there was a couple other ones in there. The Last Airbender, and they're in the fucking After Earth. I mean, you can keep going down the line. So I wasn't expecting much from Split, but a Split rides on that performance from McAvoy that is so good as well. That I think that carries that movie a long way, but it's also very well put together, written, and photographed. So, got to give him credit. But I didn't like Glass all that much, and
Yeah, Glass was a letdown, and Old is terrible. Knock at the Cabin's terrible.
I'm not. And The Watchers, this one that he's producing that his daughter did, looks like an interesting concept, but I don't have much faith in it because of what I've seen.
That one looks like a straight-to-video one, though, does it not? That's how I get the feeling from that. It looks good, but it looks like a streamer.
It looks like if he created like a universe, that would be the one that would be playing on TV or a TV movie as opposed to the theaters.
Right? Yeah.
I agree with you. But I'm excited for this trailer, and I think this comes out at the middle of summer here, so this should bring a little bit of a bounce back to his name and maybe to thrillers in general. And who knows, maybe this is the one that puts him back on top. It's been a long time since Sixth Sense, 25 years, and that movie still holds up. I watched it maybe a year ago, and fuck, that's a good movie. But Unbreakable, man, I still can't get into Unbreakable. Where do you stand on Unbreakable?
I liked Unbreakable. It was all right.
Is it, though?
It was good. It's slow and long.
It's fucking dreary. That movie has no color to it. I mean, even the scenes that are supposed to be cool feel like they're just botched to me. I don't know. And it wastes a good Bruce Willis performance, I guess. I don't know. He just mumbles his way through that fucking movie. He's so low-key. There's none of that bemusement that I was speaking of earlier. But,
yeah, he's a little bit down in that one. I don't know. It's I don't know. It's like a superhero movie that's not really a superhero movie.
It's a realistic superhero movie before they were doing that.
Reminds me, yeah, I guess so. I mean, it reminds me to some degree like that Samaritan movie.
You're right.
With Sylvester Stallone, which is kind of another downtrodden, weird superhero movie that's not really a superhero movie, but it is.
To me, that's funner than this, or Unbreakable. It's because a little bit more over the top and cartoony than Unbreakable.
But that's also but I think that's also an issue with it, where it's also then not, it doesn't have the weight that Unbreakable does.
I remember when Unbreakable came out the year after Sixth Sense and how disappointed everybody was because they were so quiet about the marketing and what it was, and then we saw it and thought, what? And I had to see it again even to think, did I miss something? And no, it's just what if Superman was a regular guy, basically. That's what this guy decided to do as his follow-up. Fucking bizarre. But out of all his movies, I do think The Village, until that reveal at the end, really creates a sense of palpable dread and fear that I really responded to. And Signs is a fucking stone cold classic. Signs
is great. I'll sing the praises of Lady in the Water.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
I think that's if you haven't seen that, you should watch that.
Maybe I will. I haven't seen that.
Because I really like that one. I like that better. That was before. What was the fish fucking movie?
The Shape of Water.
The Shape of Water. Yeah, Lady in the Water is
the first fish fucking movie.
If he fucked the fish in Lady in the Water, yeah, I'd be down with it. But it's like the first one of those. He doesn't do it because obviously
he's a moral man. I mean, he's got limitations.
No, well, it's like 10 years before. It's just not the right time period, It's like, it's not okay. It's like looked down on still.
Yeah, 10 years later, he'd have it.
It's not like today where you can just fuck a fish and everyone's fine with it.
For it.
They give you they give you Academy Awards for it.
Makes your career.
So we've come a long way, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's going to wrap up tonight's show on a fishy note there from Trevor. And we want to thank you guys, as always, for joining us on these episodes. As always, check out our past catalog on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, wherever you're getting this podcast. Rate, review, like the show. It always helps us on the algorithm and to get it out there to more people. We'll be back next time with a retrospective on Beverly Hills Cop 3 and then the big 400 episode for the July 4th weekend this year. So stick with us. We got a lot of fun things coming. Speaking for Trevor Anderson, I'm Jason Rugard, and we are the Movie Mavericks.
Oh my, another magnificent episode has come to an end. If you're craving more, set your destination to MovieMavericks.com, Warp 9. Engage!